No.
For the first part of our show, we're going to spend all of this money on Amazon.
I paid for $1 million of Amazon web hosting services.
How much do
and
you
all
think
I
is
got
in
was
here?
this. What?
How much do you think is in here? We should do like a
$5,000.
an audience. You know how they had the jelly beans?
Yeah.
But instead it's coins.
Is it $5,000 worth of
It's
coins?
certainly less than that.
It looks like it's.
What's your real guess?
Are those $100 coins? They look like $100 coins.
$100 coins.
Yeah, they got $100 coins.
Say that again for me.
$100 coins.
Okay.
Why? What? They got quarters. They got John F. Kennedy. They've got Sacagawea, the $1 silver dollars.
Yep.
Gold dollars coins. And then they got $1,100 coins.
$1,100 coins.
Yeah, $1,100 coins. That's what
it
they
sounds
made.
like a candy bar that you just made up.
1,000 grand dollar coins. They're wrapped in chocolate. It's like the opposite.
I'm upset that you didn't
coins.
give me a real guess of how much money you think is in the jar.
All right, first of all, what denomination are these coins?
What you saw the jar of
It's
coins.
Very blurry. Please don't.
What do you mean it's very blurry? It says pennies and nickels and dimes and quarters.
Okay.
The normal coins that would be in a coin jar.
To me, it looks like they're all the same coin.
What
$5,000 coin.
Have you ever seen a jar of coins that's all the same coin?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
In fact, I only keep buckets of quarters.
Right.
Yeah, and if I don't have quarters, I go to the store and I give them 2 dimes and a nickel. Sometimes 5 nickels.
Yes.
Sometimes a dime and 3 nickels.
I really just want your guess of how much money is in there.
Sometimes 25 pennies. Sometimes 2 dimes and 5 pennies. Sometimes I cut a 50-cent coin in half and I get 2 quarters. He's so mad. He just wants my guess. I don't know, man.
It's just a guess. It's just
$7.
Thank you. No, you don't have a real guess.
That's $7. That's my guess.
Okay.
It's somewhere in between $7,000 and $5,000.
Okay. All right.
Okay, fine. $25. Final answer.
There you go. That's a good guess. Thank you.
Yeah.
Golly.
Everyone type in the comment box below what you think.
I'm gonna sell my half of the podcast, and it's gonna become you talking to the AI Joe Biden, and
that'll get you about $7. Is what
exactly.
That'll get you.
Yeah. So that's we're over that. All right. Welcome to The Crunch, the only podcast that only just now has updated its camera settings to be optimized. It's your boy Ethan.
And I'm optimized.
I don't think you optimized. I optimized.
This is like when you play a game on the playground. Like,
yeah.
I have a shield that deflects your bullets. No, I have bullets that go through your shield.
Yeah.
You didn't optimize.
I'm actually invincible, so you can't get me.
Yeah, you can't get me. No, you're not on the turbo team. Don't run. I recently rewatched all of I Think You Should Leave.
Yeah.
Very worth it. In my
I Think
opinion.
You Should Leave.
Yeah. Have you seen that?
No. I've seen Turbo Time, but I've never seen I Think You Should Leave.
I Think You Should Leave is the name of the show that sketch is from. It's
that John
hot
Mulaney?
dog guy. No, it's
then I don't care
Tim
about it.
Robinson. It's the meme where it's the hot dog guy going, "We're all trying to find out who did this."
Right.
We're all trying to find the guy who did this.
Yes.
And then there's the one where it's like, is that why? Is that really? What is it? Are you sure about that? That's what it is.
Yeah, I don't find a lot of the cringe humor very appealing.
I love cringe humor, man.
I think Turbo Time is a good skit, but everything else that I've seen come out of the Tim and Eric verse has been unappealing to me. Generally.
Tim and Eric. Is that Tim Robinson and Eric? What's his name?
Yeah, that's Eric.
Never seen him.
Okay. Well, they just come from that world of weird cringe humor, and that's just never been my bag. You know, I don't like to feel bad while I'm laughing.
Yeah, I like to feel bad.
I like to feel good while I'm laughing.
No, I like to feel really bad.
I want the butterflies, but the good kind inside. And I want to let them out.
It's like, imagine if it was it's like watching a bunch of YouTube videos back to back, actually, is what that's like. It's like watching a bunch of sketch comedy videos from 2023 back to back.
You're describing something that I don't think I would enjoy. Sketch comedy. I have trouble with sketch comedy.
You don't like sketch comedy?
I don't think I do.
Why not?
Is that a character defect?
I think literally it is. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because you aren't watching sketch comedy, so you have a defect of
A
characters.
defective characters.
It's a
Yeah.
character deficit.
Would that show up on my credit check that
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
like
so.
sketch
Dude,
comedy?
oh my gosh. Hey,
Yeah.
this is our first podcast since I got back from my graduation. So
Yeah.
I'm a
Happy
master's degree book there.
birthday.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. The
A
only birthday
new a
party where you
new
have to sit and listen to some guy talk.
oh my gosh.
Was it awful?
490 names.
Oh,
And I was right at the end because I
yeah.
was the fanciest.
Mhm.
But I'm not bringing that up because I'm not bringing that up because of the graduation. I'm bringing it up because you mentioned credit checks. I had to have a credit check run against me to
Ooh.
rent a car.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Did it
So
did it reduce your credit score?
I don't think so. I think it
You
was a
went from
soft check.
815 down to 812?
Yeah, I have an 815 credit score at the age of 26. That's what I
Imagine.
have.
Imagine.
My Never mind. But
What? Why are you laughing?
you might have to bleep this out of the podcast.
Oh, no, don't say it
But
then. I don't wanna do it.
okay, then I won't.
Yeah.
But that's a bonus podcast material.
Sure, sure,
But
sure.
I reserved a car at Dollar Rent a Car because I don't have a credit card, and so I needed a dollar car rental because they take debit cards.
Mhm, mhm.
And first of all, I didn't get the young person tax because
Just
I'm
so you
26
know,
now.
you
What?
can rent cars from other places like Enterprise, you just have to bring, like, 3 months of utilities with you. I've done it multiple
Oh,
times.
yeah, I've rented cars from these places, but with my mom's card, but they still needed that
Mm,
kind of thing. So, like,
yeah,
that's what I've done in the past, but I was so adamantly against using my mommy's card this time that I was like,
yeah,
"No, I'm a man. I'm 26. I'm a man according to rental car places
yeah,
because that's the age that you can rent cars apparently,
right.
even though I have in the past." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't have a credit card." And they were like, "Okay, well, we're gonna withhold $500 from your account and run a credit check." And I was like, "Fine." And they're like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah. You know why I have $500 to keep with you? It's because I don't have a credit card bill." Anyway, so
Yeah.
uh, I was like, "Aren't you
Owned.
the Dave Ramsey guys?" Anyway, so I got the car and they ran the credit check and they said, "You failed the credit check." And I was like, "That is impossible."
You failed a credit check?
Yeah,
What
I was
score
like,
did they need
"I don't
to rent a
know."
car?
I know, but, like, I've never declared bankruptcy. I've never, missed a payment. I had 4 loans, 3 school and 1 car over the course of my life.
Mhm.
So it's not a great credit score because they want you to have, like, consumer debt, but
Sure.
it's not a bad credit score. I don't So, like, I was like, "This is so confusing," and he was like, "Yeah, I can't rent to you." And I was like, "But I reserved a car." And he's like, "We can't rent." I was like, "I already paid for the insurance." They're like, "That's through a third party." And I was like, "Okay, give me the money back." And he's like, "You have to go through the third party." And I said, "You guys picked the third party. You guys talk to them. I don't
Uh-huh.
know what to tell you. You can't the third party, you and the third party had seemed to have no problem talking to each other when you were taking my money.
Surely, right, but giving it
Surely you
back is
can
a
give
whole
it
other
back,
issue. Yeah.
you know?" And so that was just weird. And then like I sat there and I like waited. I
Mm.
got snapped at Phoebe, of course, because I was stressed.
Oh,
A bad
the
husband moment.
worst. Yeah.
And I was like, "This is ridiculous." And I was like, "Can I speak to your supervisor?" And he's like, "She's right there."
Ooh.
Yeah, like, cause I was like, "Obviously, you can't do anything about
Oh,
it.
the
Obviously, you can't."
rare Gen Z Karen that
Yeah,
you
right?
you
I was
rarely
like, "If"
see this.
I mean, it's like, it's like, "Okay." I was like, "Can you do anything about it?" He's like, "No." And I was like, "Great. Can someone else, like, do you have who's in charge?" And he was like, "My supervisor." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And she was right there. And I was like, "Okay, so she heard the whole thing. So it's probably she's not stepping in. So whatever."
Right.
So anyway, I stood there and I waited and I was like, "I'm gonna talk to her anyway." It turns out she wasn't listening.
Sure,
She was
of
on
course
the
not.
computer.
Yeah.
And so I was talking to her and I was like, "Hey, I failed the credit check. Can you run it again?" And she was like, "Yeah, sure." And she took the slip and she was like, "You didn't fail the credit check." And I was like, "Thank you. All
This
right.
guy was just
Okay."
being a jerk?
This guy didn't know what he was doing. He was incompetent, which is fine. Not
Mm.
everyone
How hard is
he
it
was
to run an Equifax credit report?
apparently it's difficult. Apparently it's
Yeah.
difficult. He didn't know what he was doing. This is like a
Hey,
unique
hey,
thing. Most
you know
people
what I
have
bet
a
it
credit
was?
card.
I
What?
bet it wasn't Equifax, I bet it was TransUnion, I bet it was the
Yeah, the
trans
trans
lobby.
agenda.
Yeah, the trans
Yeah.
agenda moving against you to
The
prevent you
trans
from
agenda, but
graduating
it's
noted, opponent of the trans, movement, Franciscan University. It's all connected.
Patrick, the trans union agenda, known for promoting gender equifax. Okay, never mind.
Nice.
There it
That's
is.
good.
There
Sure.
it is.
FICO.
Yeah. Anyway, FICO
Yes.
down
So
boy.
you
All
so
right.
you did get the car.
I did get the car.
That's good.
Yep, we got the car. But I'd canceled the insurance already, so I was like,
Oh,
"Well, we're freeballing it, baby," and freewheeling. Is
implying that, like, not wearing underwear is somehow foregoing insurance?
that what freeballing means? Always wondered
Yeah.
what that
Well,
meant.
it's you thought it was just a term.
I thought it was just a thing.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's yeah.
Well, in a sense, you're not protected, you know?
Right, I guess so.
Yeah,
Yeah, in the
but
rare occasion that you do, you kinda want that there.
yeah,
Yeah, I guess and underwear is kind of insurance when you think about it.
underwear is insurance against getting little pee stains on your pants.
If only purchasing insurance would prevent chafing, that would be the one thing that I would like.
If only. Yeah, Leo's really going through it right now.
Yeah, oh,
His first big
he's
bad
gotta
his
get a
first
better deal from State Farm.
his first big boy rash. He's got a really
Ooh,
sucks, you know? Get that
ooh.
Boudreaux's butt paste,
Oh,
that
yeah.
stuff that I embarrassed myself in front of all of your groomsmen with at your
Mhm.
wedding. Do you think about that every week? I do.
No. Why did
Yeah,
you
see, no
embarrass
one ever
yourself?
thinks about embarrassing. I was like, "Buddha's butt paste. I love that stuff."
Yeah,
And they were like, "Gross."
that's
And
not
I was like, "What?"
gross. It's a good paste.
It's a good paste. I was like, "That's hilarious. It's
Yeah,
butt paste." You know? It
yeah.
doesn't sound like it's a paste that goes on your butt. It sounds like a paste that comes from a butt. That's
Ooh,
hilarious.
yeah.
Butt
Uh, s
paste was my nickname in high school.
so you did graduate from college.
I did graduate from college with my master's in theology. I didn't get my master's in theological science, which would have given me a cooler hood, and I'm bitter about that, but hey, you live and you learn, right?
Yeah.
So but now, according to publishers, I can publish a book. So, already doing it,
Which you
but
could have published it before.
just apparently.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I finished the master's degree. Now I just got to finish the book, but I prefer sleeping because I don't have a lot of time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
my
tough.
job my job was a fake job. My last job was a fake job.
Oh, youth ministry?
Yeah.
Don't say that too loud.
No, it was
Parishes are gonna start laying laying them off if they find out that it's all fake. It's all just graphic design work that you can get for $5 on Fiverr.
I didn't think I had any time when I worked as a youth minister. Now I really don't have time, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that can be tough.
Yeah. I mean, I'll have time later cuz like right now at the beginning of this job, it's a lot of like, I got to build it up so that I have a monthly income, right?
Mhm,
But later,
mhm.
you can be like, "Nah, I won't do as many dials today."
Right, right, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But in youth ministry, it's like, "What? Oh, what? What? Oh, the,
No,
the kids are going to the kids are going to hate that my talk isn't super prepared. Whatever. I'm
they don't
podcasting, baby.
take it
They
from
don't
a
know."
former teen, they don't listen to the talks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I the only thing I was thinking about when I would go to youth group is how do I sit so that my leg can briefly brush another girl's leg? That's kind of all I
Another
was thinking
girl?
about. Like a girl,
A
you
girl,
know?
a
Yeah,
girl. There's
like
not another there's not
but
another
then
girl.
but then the
You
next
had
week
no girl, but
it would be
then
another
yeah,
girl. I would
another
go to
girl's
different
leg.
youth
Got it.
groups. Yeah, I was a serial attendee.
This guy's going to youth groups all over the country and vaguely brushing leg. No, that's real though. That's real.
Yeah,
Boys do that.
yeah. Hey, not just boys.
Girls don't do that.
No, I was implying that sometimes there are clergymen that get shuffled around the country
Hey
to brush
yo.
up against young children. Yeah,
Oh boy.
yeah, we can say it because we're in it.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, it's fine because we are Super Smash Bros. Players, so we can talk about how they're all pedophiles.
Yeah, exactly. I was in
Sorry,
the
that was way too niche of a
that was
joke.
super niche for like a tweet that just you and me saw.
Yeah, and that's not fair to like bring up pedophilia and Super Smash Bros.
Yeah, because
Together
it wasn't
without. Yeah.
really pedophilia; it was just sexual assault, whatever. I was in the shower the other day. This is a segue,
Great.
and I was
Hopefully
looking.
tangential.
No, not really. I was looking down at
Um.
my feet,
Yeah.
right? And I'm a big sock wearer. Like I rarely
Did you
don't have
keep your
socks
socks
on.
on in the shower?
No, 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 no. No. I look down at my feet and I'm kind of like looking at my feet almost it seems like for the first time. I'm like, "Oh,
you're
wow."
you're like a child.
Like I look at other people's feet all the time.
Really?
Now, hold on. So I see other
Different kind of
people.
pedophilia.
No, 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 no.
Why is feet and kid the same word?
I think pedo and pedo are different.
No, I think one is just if you're British.
Sure. I was just saying that
Sorry,
I
go
see a
on.
lot of other people wear sandals, and I like know what the other people's feet look like, you know?
Yeah.
But I never thought
Mhm.
that my feet could look like that, you know? Because I always just look down and I just see sock. You know, it's just kind of a contained unit. And then
Sure.
seeing like the little appendages kind of sticking out. I don't know, it really struck me
Toes,
yesterday.
yeah.
Yeah, the
Sure.
toes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're
It was
are
pretty
you like
cool.
Nick where you, like, wear socks literally all the time, even to bed?
Yep.
Boy, oh
Because
boy.
if I don't wear socks in bed, then my feet get all sweaty and
Oh,
yeah, it's nasty.
stick your foot out of the blanket.
No, no, no. It has nothing to do with the foot being hot. They get clammy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Weird. So, yeah, I don't wear socks to bed because I hate the way the sock feels against the blanket. But
That's
Nick
my wife is the same way. That's insane to me because what do you mean you don't like how the sock you don't feel what it feels like to be the sock rubbing up against the bed because you're the foot and the foot's inside the sock. So you
okay,
how
my
could you
foot doesn't like when the sock rubs against the blanket, all
but
right?
it's two fabrics. It's like the whisper of the wind, you know, caressing your toe. How on earth could you feel what it feels like from within? That's what is that? Is that a receipt that you had in your
Too
hand? I don't think that's a good corollary. A sock, soft.
That's
Yeah,
nothing.
that's nothing. So I don't see what the problem is. You wouldn't like put
Socks?
when you put on gloves and you like stick your glove through your sweatshirt, you know, in the winter, are you like, "Oh,
Yes.
this is so awful. I can't believe
Yes.
that I feel this way with my hand in my glove."
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
I think you have a sensory issue.
Yeah, I hate the feeling of, like, scratching the top of a car or, like yeah. Does
The
Emma get
outside of
weird
it
when you, like, scratch the
or
no, the
like
roof?
scratching behind its ears to make it feel good.
Yeah, when you do and all of a sudden, like, the back tire just goes doop, doop, doop.
Yeah.
Then you
And
get unstuck
the
if you're in the
radiator
mud.
comes out.
But yeah, so, does Emma ever get mad if you, like, scratch the roof of the car?
I don't
The ceiling
scratch
of the
the
car?
roof of the car. I
You've never
what
scratched the roof of your car?
why, why unless I was like a caged animal trying to escape, why would
How does
I?
she feel about biting into an apple?
Are all these related and like it's this is a weird Rorschach test that you're doing to see if I can pick up on the code? Because
No, it's
I think biting into an apple is generally fine for all of us over here.
great.
You don't like biting into apple?
No, I hate the sound, and my wife loves apples, and it's a cross that I bear. I
So
hate the taste of I hate not the taste. I love the taste of apples. I hate the sound of apples.
like
So
the
a baked apple, great. Yeah.
like
Oh
the
yeah. Stop doing it.
so you don't like that.
No.
Are there any fruits that you do like the sound of? Like if I was next to you and I and I and I bit into like a mango, would that send
Oh
you?
yeah, mango, baby.
Or because
Not
it's
many
too
fruits have.
is it the
Name another fruit
snap?
that
What
has
is it that
noises.
gets you? Is it
It's
just
the
like
crunch.
the crunch? You have a
The
problem
crunch.
with the crunch.
I don't have a problem with the crunch. I have the problem with the crunch of the apples. That's why we put the Applejack guys in hell
Yeah.
or fed or
Maybe you
whatever. I
need
don't
to
know.
get softer apples. Fuji instead of Honeycrisp.
Every single one of them, all of them.
Every
I hate
apple.
it. Can't do
That's
it.
so sad.
Oh, it gives me the feeling that you get if you like bite ice. You
You ever
bite
had those
ice.
ice pop in the you don't like those?
I love them, but I never would.
Then how do you you just eat it whole?
My
You just
my
drop it down
jaw
the
my
esophagus
jaw unhinges,
and
and I like go.
you let it
You ever
melt
see a sword?
inside.
You ever see a sword eater? Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
do, but I don't take it back up. No,
yeah. You do that but with freeze
I
pops.
go, I pinch it,
Yeah?
and then I go, and I go,
And you just let it melt in your mouth? You never
yes,
bite the ice?
I savor it.
You've never like if you're having a drink and you get some ice in your mouth with the drink, you don't kind of chomp on
No,
the ice a little bit? You just
no,
sit there not speaking until the ice melts?
no. I speak. Are you kidding me?
You
Have you
spit
met
it
me?
out?
Nice to meet you. I'm Patrick. Yeah, I
What do you
spit it
do with
out,
the ice? You just spit the ice back out.
or I let it melt in my mouth.
And you just kind of
Yeah. Yep.
This is I've never knew all these things about you. Apples, socks, gloves, car scratching. That's that and I don't know about why do you just is it for fun?
Um.
It's just like kind of one of those like things that people do when they're in a car and they're bored and they just kind of like are just playing with the the upholstery, like it's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Scratchy, like, gross.
Gotcha. Okay. It's
Yeah.
good to know that you have all these icks. I'm trying to think if I have any icks.
No,
I hate the
any.
I do have I do have some where it's like if someone scratches those like little 3D things that used to be on like your pajamas, it was like a 3D
Oh
monster
yeah,
truck
that's awful.
and it
Yeah.
was oh, I hate that
It's nails on
sensation.
chalkboard. It's nails
Nails
on
on
chalkboard.
chalkboard, but it's
That's
nails
what I
on
get when you
weird
bite
3D
ice,
monster trucks.
or if you like bite ice cream or something that's frozen, or apples, anything like that.
Ice? You biting ice cream?
People bite ice cream.
No, but like, do you eat ice cream?
Yes.
Are
Are you kidding me? Look at me. I eat ice cream. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's true. Well, that's
I
good.
let it melt in my mouth.
Okay. I feel like we've learned a lot about each other today.
Ethan's a crazy person who can bite ice, and I'm a normal person who can't.
Sound off in the comments below if you eat ice, because I think it's a large majority of people on the planet. We're going to get into the Discord and everyone's going to be like, hey,
I have a PhD in ice.
no, not even that, but it's just like, hey, I eat ice. I'm one of the many.
I eat ice. I go to the dentist. That's what you guys sound like. All right.
Patrick's talking about how much time he doesn't have in the day, but sits there and waits for the ice to melt in his mouth instead of just biting it.
my time block planner is 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Cold calls, 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. bonus podcast, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. waiting for ice to melt in my mouth.
Yeah, it's the drill budget tweet, but it's with ice in my mouth. Help me, my family is starving. I don't know
Help
what
me,
to
I have
do.
no time in the day. Ice keeps melting in my mouth.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh boy. So Ethan, we're doing something today, but before we do that thing,
what's up?
people should like and subscribe on this YouTube video, share the video or whatever, subscribe, comment
subscribe, click the bell button, get notified every time we upload. That's what you want, really.
Sell all your data to Google.
Yeah, we're up to 215 subscribers on YouTube.
Big, huge,
large. We're growing every day. So hop on board, baby.
One day our YouTube channel will catch up to our actual listenership.
One day it will surpass
216. Just kidding.
One day we're going to be so big on YouTube we won't even need the audio podcast anymore. We're going to leave it languishing.
We're going to leave it be. We're going to be like audio listeners who?
Yeah, I don't even know. People without eyes, not interested.
Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me.
We are doing a little thing.
What are we doing?
I have 25 minutes until I have to go. So we're gonna do. So I was watching an interview, a podcast that I like. It's called the Iced Coffee Hour. Have you heard of this?
I have heard of this.
It's Graham Stephan, who's a bit of an influencer or YouTuber type guy, but he's a real estate dude, or was a real estate dude he was an agent in Hollywood, California, Los Angeles. Made a bunch of money, owns a bunch of rental properties, and now he does content, basically like finance content, housing content, all these things. But they do a podcast called the Iced Coffee Hour where they interview a bunch of very successful people, like 9-figure people, billionaire people, and just talk to them about their success. I think they do a good job at interviewing the two of them because they're very, I don't know, it doesn't feel like they have an agenda when they go into their interviews. It doesn't feel like that they're really just trying to figure out like, hey, how much money do you actually have and how did you get it? It's like really what you're interested in, which is kind of refreshing because it's not like, how dare you? They're not making judgments.
Yeah.
People make their money. It's just, so you did what to get how many apartments? And it's interesting. So they did 2 back-to-back episodes, and they did one with Hassan Piker, who.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, I know that guy.
Yeah. He was on the Young Turks, and he's very left wing, like democratic socialist type guy, very pro-abortion, all those things. And then before that, the episode that we're going to look at today is an episode with Brett Cooper, who I think Matt Fradd is like wants to be friends with. He just talks about her a lot. I don't know. The first time I heard
this is a woman.
This is a woman, Brett Cooper. She's like 21, and she's on the Daily Wire. So she has like 3 million subscribers on a Daily Wire show. And she looks like Ben Shapiro, so everyone calls her Femme Shapiro, which is pretty funny.
That is funny.
But I was listening to both of those episodes because I thought it was interesting how they just let them talk. And obviously I have a lot. Actually, when listening to those episodes, I had a lot more disagreements with Brett than I did with Hassan, because I think like and maybe that's just like the more sectarian deal where it's just like, hey, if we're both right wing, you can't like be wrong about these things, you know? Whereas with Hassan, he's talking about like, they talked a lot about homelessness. They talked a lot about
Mhm.
like foreign entities owning American property.
Oh,
They
yeah,
talked
I hate that.
about like poverty and, you know, like I disagree with Hassan's solution, which is like we need more government to solve all of these things. But like a lot of the problems what they were talking about homelessness and like the way that people go about it and how homeless shelters are like more dangerous and you need to have a housing first, like all those things that he was talking about, I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Just from like a, you know, if you love the poor, you kind of have to like look at the poor and help them in the way that helps them the most and not just try to do it the way that you think is best. So I like agreed with a lot of his stuff. And then once he gets into the abortion and the gender stuff, obviously it just goes off the rails. But a lot of the economy
Sure.
stuff, I'm like, yeah, I just don't think government programs is the solution to all those problems. But the thing I want to talk about with Brett that we're going to switch to here, and I have the exact timestamp pulled up, is they asked her about pornography, and
Pornography.
she it has an anti-porn stance, and
Good.
I thought that her answers were not satisfactory with the questions. Like she had
Oh.
an opportunity to make a really good argument, and she just
Huh.
biffed it. So I think we should talk about it. And
Okay.
I'm gonna switch to the thing here, and I'm gonna play this. Can you see? Can you see the screen?
I can.
Okay. So they were talking. They talked a little bit about like the culture around porn and about like the sex trafficking and the
Mhm.
all of those things. But then he asked a question very specifically, like, so is it the culture that's wrong or is it porn itself that's wrong?
Great
Because they were talking,
question.
which is a really good question. So this is how it
Yeah.
goes.
Is it the culture of porn itself, or is it porn in general?
I think it's both.
So
Like
I
the
agree. I
I
think the
think that-
culture around porn, yes, is,
Yeah.
is extremely toxic and it's very bad. Probably an objective bet, right?
Yeah.
Let's take porn itself. Okay.
like the
with
actual
two very
videos.
intentional, no, two very intentional people consenting into this
Yeah.
whatever transactional relationship.
Yeah.
How is that bad?
If they are doing that, then I guess that's fine.
I just, oh, and it goes on, and we can listen to more of that. But that
Yeah.
like that question of, so what's wrong with two people who are consenting, two people who haven't been in like sexually trafficked,
Yeah.
totally consenting, who just want to record themselves having sex
Mhm.
and uploading it online? What's wrong with that? And this is where the whole libertarian thing just falls apart.
It crumbles.
It
Yeah.
crumbles.
It's
We can
not,
listen to
yeah.
a little bit more so we don't take it completely out of context, but I want to hear your thoughts on all of this.
Okay.
Like if you want to make videos in your own home, I guess maybe it's the selling of it. I don't know.
But what is
Sure.
it
She doesn't
exactly
know.
about
She's,
the
like,
selling
waffling.
of it? Because people sell their bodies in other ways.
That's very true. I guess I think in my mind that goes back to the industry. Like, will there ever be a safe way to present that pornography?
But if
where
there
the
was,
creators,
then it would probably be okay in the mind of Brett Cooper.
I think on a moral level, I would still say no. Because
I think for
I'm
you,
trying to
I
understand-
think you value intimacy
Mhm.
and having.
But she can't, and then they get into some other things, but she like can't
Yeah.
articulate why, you know,
Yeah.
which I think is like a huge problem, you know?
Yeah, it's a super red. Yeah, it's a super red flag. Yeah, she's like, there's no. You're right. It is the. It's funny. Like in your own home, it's like
Mhm.
this is where libertarianism fails. It's like, why
Yeah.
is it the home that is this like contained unit
Yeah.
where all of a sudden it's okay to do
It's okay to do
something?
anything
It's okay to do anything in your
as
own
long
home.
as it doesn't infringe upon other people.
Other people, exactly. But it's like, who are you to say what infringes on other people?
Yeah.
You know, because like, sure, it's possible. You know, like it's I don't know. It's I don't want to go into the argument of like, well, actually, it does infringe on other people because it, you know, the other person becomes less, you know, attached to their partner or whatever. It's like,
Mhm.
no, it's not about. It's not about. We're all consequentialists at heart, right? Do you know what
Mhm.
consequentialism is?
No,
Consequentialism is this idea that
I don't
like
have a master's from Franciscan, so
we were talking in the line about how none of us are prepared to do moral theology because the moral theology professor was like MIA for months or for years. Like no one had a good moral theology class in the years that we were there.
oh
I
no,
think we had a good one because I don't know, I read all the works. So like I read everything and like talked anyway, doesn't matter.
cringe.
But there if you read Veritatis Splendor, this is John Paul II's like
Mhm.
key document for Catholic moral theology. He talks about two problematic views of like what makes something moral, and one of those things is called consequentialism, which is if the consequences are good, then the action must have been good. Right?
Mm,
It's not necessarily the ends justify the means. Like, that's not exactly what people are saying. Like, you can do something that's wrong as long as it goes well. It's like, no, if it's going well, if the consequences are good, that
mm,
means necessarily the action was good. And
right.
this seems to be what she's arguing. It's like, oh, like if the outcome is neutral, then the action must have been neutral. If the outcome is bad, the action was bad. And a
Mhm.
lot of us do this because let's say you do something bad and get caught by your wife, right? Or you do something bad and you don't get caught by your wife and she gets
Mm,
really mad at you for the first thing and not for the second thing.
mhm,
We are, in our fallen human nature, are going to feel more bad about the thing we were caught doing
mhm.
than not doing.
Yeah.
And it's because we we value the consequences of our actions. Like, okay, cool, I got away with that, so it was fine. I didn't get away with that, so it was not fine. It was actually
Right.
really bad, and we feel more awful about it, even if it was like the same action, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Um, and so we're all deeply consequentialist at heart. And that's what she's arguing is like, well, porn is bad because of all these consequences. But that's a slippery slope fallacy, right? It's like, oh, well, this will, porn will lead to something that's actually wrong, so it's wrong. But just because something leads to something being wrong, on the flip side, it's like just because something leads to being wrong doesn't mean that it's wrong. Like
Mhm.
if I mean, Jesus did this all the time, right? Like Jesus said a lot of things that led to people getting in trouble. Like Jesus healed a blind man
Mhm.
and it led to that blind man getting excommunicated from the temple. So, like,
Yikes.
was it wrong? No.
No, of course not.
It was Jesus. So
Yeah.
yeah, those are my thoughts. It's like
Yeah.
she's judging the action by the wrong criteria.
Yeah. And I think it's when you get too politics pilled, like you
Mhm.
kind of ignore that they're like, I don't know. It feels like the people of the Daily Wire, and I love the Daily Wire. I'm happy to be bought out by you at any point in time so that you can actually have some funny people on
I
your
will
network.
not leave $5 million on the table and then emotionally abuse my wife. I
Yes.
promise I
And
won't do that.
I promise that I will not dress up like a woman and work out at Planet Fitness for some reason also.
The reason was comedy, Ethan. It was funny. Everyone was laughing with
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
With him.
It was really, really funny that this guy,
I don't think trans
yeah,
people want to dress up as a woman as much as Steven Crowder does.
I
That's just
think,
been my
yeah,
experience.
he seems to be really, really into it because he's done it. He's done it more than once. That's the
He's
other
done it
thing.
so many
He's done it
times.
so many
Like,
times. So anyway, he was in a pro-life film, so you have to give him credit for that. He was in To Save
was
a
he?
Life. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
well, he was also in Arthur, so I'll give him credit for that too.
He was.
He played the brain.
Who was he? Mr. Ratburn?
He played the brain.
Who was he? Buster?
He was bust her.
Oh, oh,
Yeah, he was dressed up as a woman,
yes.
a
So
female rabbit.
here's what I think. When you get so politics pilled, you kind of deny, and I think the Daily Wire people do this unintentionally.
Okay,
But there's like a denial of transcendentals. Like there is like truth, beauty, and goodness exist insofar as they support the right wing platform, not
Mhm.
as things in and of themselves. And of course, people like Michael Knowles and Matt Walsh will like pay lip service to it, but it's not like a coherent part of the arguments ever,
Sure.
really, because they just go to, and this makes sense because they want to cast the net really wide. They want to get people who don't believe in God, who do believe in God. They don't care. So it makes sense to start with the sex trafficking angle. It makes sense to start with the, oh, you can get on websites if you don't have, like, I have to do more age verification for Spotify than I do for a Pornhub. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, it
yeah.
makes sense to kind of go after the policy things first, but then when they actually get to deep down, like, okay, yeah, all of those things are wrong, but like, why is it wrong? If no one is hurt by it, why is it wrong? And if
There's
you can't
no,
say,
yeah,
well, sex is actually made to be an expression of love in the confines of marriage,
with
like, you
no one else around,
right.
purposefully.
Yes, with no one else around, and like it's meant to be the gift of one spouse to the other, and the like
Mhm.
the way that you create life, and it's something that's actually sacred and set apart from the rest of your
Yeah.
whole life. Then it's like people get really uncomfortable with those words. They're like, oh, I had to,
No,
because that's
people
like an
really
attack
do.
on their
Yeah,
whole worldview. Then when you say
yeah.
that, when you're like, sex belongs in marriage only, and it's for the love of the spouse and the creation of children only, then it's like,
Yeah. People get super
woo, they get
uncomfortable.
really uncomfortable because then when you say that, it's like you've gone from defending a position of anti-porn to attacking their position of pro sexual promiscuity,
Yeah,
basically.
and it's not even just promiscuity. It's like
Or whatever. There's
any
probably a
kind
better
of
word there.
well, not even just it's not even just promiscuity. It's like this idea of what sex is for. So it's like
Yeah.
it's keeping it. It's kind of built up as like this paramount of human fulfillment, right? And it's like
Mm-hmm.
I was having a conversation with a friend in high school, and I always remember this because I felt really embarrassed by it, but it was
Mm.
like it said more about her than it did about me. We were having a conversation at the lunch table with a bunch of people around about saving sex until marriage. Now,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
looking back, I recognize now that I should not have assumed that she was thinking hypothetically.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were having a
That's that
conversation.
15-year-old type beat. That happens a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But it
Like,
was like,
surely.
it's like surely this 15-year-old has not had sex.
Ooh.
I mean, I tend to think that all the time.
Right. Oh, how
You'd hope.
wrong we are.
But we had a conversation about how like sex before marriage really wrong, and I was like, yeah, I think it is wrong, and she was like, well, I mean, if you know you're gonna marry the person anyway, why is it wrong? And I was like, well, if you know you're gonna marry them, I mean, let's like take wrong out of the picture entirely. Like, isn't it more special if you like wait until your wedding? Like, doesn't that honor sex more? Because she was like, it seems like you think sex isn't important for building a relationship. And I was like, well, no, I do understand that it's important, but like that kind of makes it so that we should save it until marriage, right? And then she said like, I'm uncomfortable, and she tried to kind of stop the conversation. Looking back, I recognize it's because she's probably having sex with her boyfriend who she thought she was going to marry, and ended up not marrying. So
Yeah.
it's probably unfortunate that I took that
Yeah.
route. But hey, you live and you learn. She
Mm-hmm.
was making silly mistakes as a 15-year-old, so was I. So it's
Right. Different
um,
caliber of mistake.
but yeah, so it's not a big deal. But like that she got uncomfortable because I understand why she got uncomfortable. But
Mm-hmm.
people do get really uncomfortable when you people get really uncomfortable when you kind of point out that they're doing something that's wrong and they really like it, which is why I think a lot of people, go this route of like, well, I have like plausible deniability that I don't know that these people are being trafficked. So if they're not being trafficked and they're not being abused, well, then it's fine. Or if they obviously want to do this and you kind of trick yourself into thinking that they want to do it,
Right.
like then it's fine. And so now all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden you're in. It's like there's really no, I guess.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know anyone who would defend porn that is not obviously using it. And if they're
Yeah.
using it, they're probably attached to it in some way.
Right. Yeah.
I've never met someone who's like, well, I don't know if people are porn free, but it's like I've never met someone who's like, yeah, I don't have a problem with porn. I don't watch it myself, but I don't have a problem with it. I've never met someone like that.
Yeah. Because you wouldn't say that about any other thing that's like addictive in nature.
No, people say that about things that are unaddictive in
Well, I
nature all
guess,
the time.
yeah. I was just thinking about like Coke, you know.
Sure. Yeah. Something that like overrides your understanding of like
It's like,
your
bro,
understanding.
you're saying there's a problem with Coke, bro? I don't use it, but
Like,
like,
I don't see a problem with
I
like
don't see
in
a
your own
problem
home,
with it.
you know?
Yeah. But I think it's this, and even that's a good example, right? Because I think the same argument would be, well, what if you do cocaine once a week in your house by yourself, and no one else is around, and it's just because
And
you like it, and it doesn't affect your work, it doesn't affect anything, you
yep,
just do it. So like,
once a
what's the
month, and
problem?
you don't get it from a
Right.
drug trafficker, you make it yourself, I don't know,
Yeah.
and you
You grow the cocoa bean in your backyard, and
yes,
you crush it up,
mhm,
and
you put it in
yes,
a pipe and
and you
smoke
put
it
it in a pipe and you smoke it. So what's the problem?
like a
Like, if
cigarette.
there was completely ethical, what's the issue? It's like, well, and that goes back to the same thing of, well, there's dignity to the body, and there's right ways to treat the body, and there's wrong ways to treat the body.
Yeah,
And there's actually like, and it's objective. Like, it's not, you can't actually debate it, is the thing.
yeah, yeah,
And
and it's
that,
like, and
yeah.
there are some things that are like objectively worse by degree,
Mm-hmm.
and there's some things that are objectively fine by degree. Like I had a conversation about someone, like about abortion with someone, and I was like, let's pretend that the baby is a part of the woman.
Mm-hmm.
It's not okay to chop off your arm.
Yeah.
So even
Right.
if the baby is a part of the woman, it's not okay to like excise a part of you
Mm-hmm.
for no reason.
Yeah.
And they didn't even go with the amputation. They were like, oh, so is exfoliating your skin wrong? And I was like, no. like obviously not, but like you're playing a mind game where it's like I can describe these two acts as similar, right? I
Mhm.
can describe cutting off my arm and um
Yeah.
and exfoliating. Both are, getting rid of parts of my body.
Right.
So then getting rid of my arm must be okay, or killing a
Yeah.
baby must be okay.
People
And so
immediately
like,
jump to those nonsensical situations of like, would you
yeah,
rather save a 3-year-old kid or 1,000 fertilized embryos
yeah.
in a
Would you
burning
rather
building?
would you rather be porn be legal or kill your mother?
Yeah.
So
Would you
those are your two options.
rather abortions be legal or women sticking hangers, like in back out?
Yeah,
Like, no, yeah, then
yeah,
they just go to these crazy things. It's like, well, okay. All I'm saying is that the body has dignity and there's right things to do and wrong things to do. And you don't want to talk about that. And so you're making up scenarios.
yes,
Now, yes, I like, let's take this separately. Of course, I don't want women to have back alley abortions. Of course, I don't want women to be sex trafficked. Of course, I don't want 1,000 fertilized embryos to die in a
sure,
house fire,
or something.
in
Yeah,
whatever house this is that has those in a closet.
yeah.
Um,
But
like,
it's funny because like these guys are doing what you're saying. They're
mhm,
they're speaking in terms of like, let's talk about objective actions here, and she's still talking about consequences, and she
right, yeah,
can't think about the. And I think so. I
yeah,
mean, this kind of shows that like the conservative, Catholic, the right, they like to be like liberals hate facts and logic, but that's my Paul Watson impression.
yeah.
Um, but like it appears to me that when it comes down to the wire,
Oh,
even the right doesn't understand the conversation. And like this just kind of harkens back to like everything that I think when it comes to politics. Like the right is so high and above the left,
mm-hmm,
morally speaking,
mm-hmm.
in their minds, that they don't recognize that their fallacies have fueled the left. And
Yes.
like, Glenn Beck can write his book about the Overton window and how everything's changing, and nowadays women or cats and dogs are living together, like all this stuff. And you don't see that like the errors in the conservative ideas of what it means to be a person are fueling the liberal ideas, because if the
Mm-hmm.
conservative idea is an individual can determine himself and his actions, and as long as it's not hurting anybody then it's okay, then why is it wrong for a person to change their gender? And then you have to come up with, well, they're grooming little kids. Like, okay, what if they weren't?
Mm-hmm.
Is it wrong
Right.
to change your gender, and why?
Right. There's no God.
There's no action. Like
Yeah.
I posted this the other day on the
Mm.
internet. I was like, what is the definition of a woman then? Because it's like, oh yeah, it's an adult human female. Okay, well then that is basically meaningless. It's obvious. It's like that's just okay. So like an adult human female, great. So like then an adult human female, I can like become one, right? I can like chemically alter my body and like rearrange my organs in such a way that I appear female. Oh no,
Sure.
it's all the way down to your chromosomes. Okay, well, like now, like why do chromosomes matter? Like what is the metaphysical reality of a chromosome? Why does this matter? There's no discussion about that. There's no like, well, God has ordained men and women for a specific purpose to reveal something about himself. And so if you are a woman, you need to remain a woman
Mm-hmm.
because it's what God has ordained from before time began. Like that's a
Right.
much more powerful argument in
Yeah.
my mind.
And it's
Obviously not
logically
totally secular.
sound. It's
Yeah.
like you can carry it all the way through every single step.
Yeah.
Whereas like a lot of these other arguments are valid in like whatever individual circumstance that they're talking about, but they
Sure.
don't hold down to the to the bedrock of the issue, right?
Yeah.
Which is like human beings were created for a purpose by an omniscient, omnipresent, Trinitarian God. Like if you can't get there with your argument, then your argument's wrong. And so like that's the issue. And I will say real quick, because I have to leave in 4 minutes.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I agree with your point about the fallacies of the right fueling the left. The fallacies of the left also fuel the right too. So
Sure.
it's
Yeah.
like I think this is an issue. I just want to give the mogul male, but this it's like I'm thinking of the whole vaccine deal, where uh, left is all about bodily autonomy and I can do what I want with my own body, and then the right throwing my body, my choice back in their face,
Yep.
is just like fueling their whole division, right? And it's like
Hmm.
shoving that wedge in because the left could not properly articulate why everybody had to be forced to take that vaccine because it wasn't a sound argument. It didn't go all the way down,
Yeah.
and it like
Yeah.
contradicted reason,
Yeah,
with
and it
what they
allowed-
believe. Yeah.
And it allowed the right to take on that maxim of my body, my choice, which is not sound.
Yes.
And now all of a sudden it switched. And then the left was
Right.
like, well, you don't care about, and it's like, you're just talking past each other.
Mhm.
I don't understand why the left and the right can't see, hey, if you guys are saying the same thing and
Mhm.
it doesn't apply in every situation, then it must not be true.
true. Right.
Yeah. Like if my body, my
Yeah.
choice applies to this situation, and not that situation, then it must not be a maxim that you can live your life by. And so you have to come up with something else. But they're like, you
Mhm.
can't say that. Only we can say that about something different. And then it's like, we're going to, coerce your body anyway. Yeah,
Mhm.
you're exactly right. It's like, you can
Right.
make arguments for why vaccines should be mandatory. I don't think a lot of them are good.
So here's what I'm saying. For the people from the Daily Wire that are watching this, you need to have real robust people on your network. I'm not saying it
Yes.
should be me,
No.
but I am saying you could get us for a tenth of the price of what's the guy's name? The lady who was at the
Steven
Planet
Crowder.
Fitness. Steven Crowder. A tenth of the price. Now think about that as a deal. You've got a graduate from the alt-right Franciscan University of Steubenville here.
Indeed. Hey, we're
You-
green just like Pepe Le Frog.
You've got a guy who follows Bronze Age pervert on Twitter, even though he doesn't like it. Right? This is what more could you want?
What more could you want? Oh my gosh.
Oh boy. Anyway, well, this is good. This is good. I think
Yeah,
this is
no
good. I
Dr.
like
Ethan's dating corner today.
no Dr. Ethan's dating corner, unfortunately. But next week we'll have an overload because we've done 2 weeks in a row without a Dr. Ethan's dating corner. So we'll do a dating heavy podcast next week.
Yeah, we'll do a monthly dating mailbag is what we'll do.
It'll be awesome. So send in your
huge.
questions to the mailbag. You can email patrick@thecrunchcast.com with a dating question if you have one, or if you find one online that you think that we should talk about, maybe on a subreddit, maybe on Twitter somewhere. We'd love to take the submissions and chat about them on our Dating Palooza next week. Patrick, do you have anything else for the people?
bit.ly/crunch Discord. Oh wait, sorry, I was supposed to do a bit. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
You did a
bit.ly/crunch
bit.
Discord, patreon.com/thecrunch. There was $5,000 in that jar, and I am correct.
Thank you all for listening. Please pray for us. We'll be praying for you. And we'll see you all